Let's fix the deformations of the fingers. Let's select our left arm control, and we can just move our fist attribute. Another thing I like to do when painting weights is to actually add a little bit of animation so we can see how our progress is looking scrubbing the timeline. So we'll go to frame 1, we'll set a key of 0 on the fist. We can go to frame 12 and put a full weighting of 1 for the fist. Right click, key selected. Alright, so we already started animating. And of course I'm just joking. So as we start now, we can look for areas that we may want to fix. And for the most part, everything is looking very nice, but areas that I think we need to pay close attention to are the knuckle pieces, and also, if you notice, the bind for the index finger is definitely off, or excuse me, for the ring finger is definitely off, and even for the middle finger. But the index looks well, and the thumb does too. So those are some areas we won't need to work on. But let's start with the knuckles. These knuckles are actually going to go to the hand bone. They shouldn't deform at all. Now what we will do is make sure that the pinky knuckle does go fully with it, as it should follow. It's in a position where it would follow. So let's get right to that. We'll start with the index and work our way down. We'll just select one of its points for the, again, just for the knuckle geometry, and if we would like, we could even use X-ray mode. Now let's increase our selection to grab all of its vertices, and we'll simply need to find our left hand. Okay, so we'll look for that, and here we are, left hand. So let's go ahead and add a full amount of weighting for this object. Okay, and now that that's done, we continue the process with the others. So we just select one, grow the selection, and add a full weighting to the hand. And do make sure that it is the hand you're adding weights to, because it's not too difficult to accidentally add the weights to the wrong object. Alright, so we go now to the next and just add a full weighting. And go to the last, and remember this time, this one is going directly to the root of the pinky. So we'll find that, pinky A. Let's see. Alright, here we are. And we'll add a full weighting. So if we were to close this out and look at this, even turning off X-ray, we can select our control and move the fist. And notice that's looking quite well. Very nice already. You can see that the pinky's knuckle geometry is following the way we'd like it to. Great. Alright, well, now that that's done, we do need to bring our attention to the index finger, so let's go ahead and do that. And remember, we just had one bone for this, that was the mid bone, so we'll make sure that these verts here go where they belong. So we can even go behind the fingers here and select a few of these. Okay. We can select the points for the top section that should belong to the first mid bone. So we'll just grab all of these. Go to the component editor. We'll find our mid bone, mid A, and apply a full weighting. Alrighty, so that's coming along. And then we can go to the others. This lower one, that can go to the B bone, so we'll grab these others and we'll add that to the mid B with a full weighting. Alright. And it actually looks like we can even see what would happen if we added it to the A bone, and that actually looks a little bit better. Sometimes you do want to experiment just to see what would work best, and I think that would even work best going to, again, the root of the mid finger. Let's see, for these other points that are causing us few problems. Let's go ahead and select those and see how it would look going to the midsection of the finger. And notice that looks quite well actually. And notice how much better this finger looks now that we have done those changes. So if we were to minimize the component editor now, come out of component mode and scrub back and forth, we can see the progress, and that's looking very nice. And this would actually be fine. This would work very well for our game character, especially given the fact that the fingers aren't going to be too noticeable at all in the game. So you do want to keep in mind those things as well. If an object that you're, let's say, painting weights on isn't really going to be too noticeable, don't spend too much time on it and spend more time on areas that require more attention. Going now to the next vertices, this time for the what would be the mid finger. Can go ahead and see if we can fix a few of these up. We'll go to the component editor and give them a weighting to the mid A bone and just see how that's coming along. Alright, so that looks like we can actually choose a better bone for that, so we'll try the next bone down, which is the mid B, and notice that works very well for us. Alright, so we can go to the next bone underneath, and this one looks like it actually can go to C, this vertice. Alright, so we have a few other areas, at least this one vertice in particular. Let's have that go to the C as well as the one above it. Looks like that can be fixed to also go along with, let's say, even B. I think B would be a better choice. Great. Well, those are the fingers. Okay. If we wanted to, we could even look at some other areas of the fingers, and we could see that there's definitely some areas here that we can tweak. So we can view our X-ray mode. Select these fingers for the mid bone. And this looks like it can possibly go to A. So we'll just give a full weighting of 1 there. Okay. And then we can minimize the component editor and scrub back and forth to see exactly what's happening. Okay, here we see some areas that can go to the wrist bone or the hand bone. Okay, if we scrub back and forth, we can see, alright, those, we probably wouldn't want those following along as they are. Going back to the component editor, we'll go to our hand bone, and once we have found it, there you are, we'll give them a full weighting. So as we scrub back and forth now, that's much better. Great. And I think that's really going to be all that we need to do for the fingers. So if we were to go back to object mode and even turn off X-ray, we can see how everything's coming along. You could even hide your bones, just hide the joints and see how it's all coming together that way too. Okay, it looks like we have a few areas here that we can possibly address. Primarily these two vertices. Okay, I think this one here can go to the hand. So we'll find the hand and give it a full weighting. Alright, that's much better. And then for the one underneath that, that can possibly go to the hand too. Let's see how that looks. And that might be a little bit too much. So our next option down the line would be for it to go to the mid A bone. So we'll find that and weight it. And that looks much better. So if we were to, again, scrub our timeline, we can see, alright, now that our weights look even better here. Okay. Alright, so again, that's going to be just fine for our game character. So with these things now done, we can remove our keys. Just shift select them all, hold shift, hold the left mouse button, and drag on the timeline, grabbing all of the keys that we've set, and delete them, and make sure that the fist is brought back to a value of 0. And that finishes the fingers for this character. So that leaves us now to the next area that we're going to focus on, which is going to be the hose for the right arm. So we're actually going to be adding some fall off to this. If we were to select this and move this around, you can see that, alright, it needs a little bit of work here. So we'll get to it in the next lesson.